This is a graph of the amount of people who have reported negative experiences because of their race or ethnicity since coronavirus outbreak began. The numbers are consistent with the rising prevalence of anti-Asian discrimination in the United States.
A spike in racism directed toward Asian Americans since the virus spread to the United States.
We're seeing a disturbing rise in hate-filled attacks.
Asian Americans becoming targets of discrimination. The FBI recently issued a warning about a potential spike in hate crimes.
People are saying they've been harassed online, spit on, yelled at, even physically attacked.
But why is this happening, and what can we do to fix it? This blaming of Asians for the outbreak of disease is not at all a new concept. During the 1900 bubonic plague epidemic in San Francisco, Chinese residents were quarantined in Chinatown and denied access to public health and housing. More recently, the SARS outbreak of 2003 saw the immediate stigmatization of East Asians worldwide. We spoke with Cynthia Choi, co-founder of Stop AAPI Hate, to learn more about the history of anti-Asian discrimination.
This is not the first time that Asian and Asian Americans have experienced racism and xenophobia. Many of you are familiar with the Chinese Exclusion Act in 1882. Chinese were also blamed for lots of things, including disease, the bubonic plague, and so forth. These are all the things that were used to defend racist immigration policies at that time.
Since the outbreak of coronavirus, Asian Americans across the country have been subject to verbal and physical harassment. Individuals in the Trump administration, including the president himself, have repeatedly used racially loaded terms to refer to COVID-19.
I can name Kung Flu. I can name 19 different versions of names.
This dangerous implication that Asian Americans are the cause of this virus has negative effects on mental health within the community. We sat down with Dr. Alma Trinidad, a mental health specialist at Portland State University.
So the short-term impact that one may observe is one facing, depression, sadness, anxiety, feeling like they don't want to engage. You would see probably withdrawals. You would probably observe deep sadness and a change of behavior and a change of personality. If these traumas are not tended to, then you can see long-term impact of deep depression, maybe addiction, turning to drugs and other substances.
So what types of discrimination are we currently seeing?
So since COVID, you've seen great number of explicit discrimination and explicit words of hatred in the public spaces. You started to see quite a bit of racial slurs and jokes around Chinese community. So that's the explicit component of what we are seeing. But the implicit part, I think, is the often hidden ones. That's where it gets really tricky.
The phrase implicit bias refers to beliefs and prejudices that operate outside of an individual's awareness, but shapes their worldview and decision-making. Implicit bias against Asian Americans have been widespread since the start of COVID-19. Racial stereotyping is an example of implicit bias that is especially dangerous in the status quo. It seems the coronavirus is here to stay. As we continue to fight this virus, we must keep in mind the social impacts that it may pose. How can we, as a society, mitigate anti-Asian discrimination?
One of the things that we are really encouraging people to do is to be informed, be engaged around this issue. The best ways that you can be allies is to become more civically involved. If you can vote, vote. Vote for people who are going to represent everyone, right? Not just a few. And so we need to keep pressing forward, and we need to keep having courageous conversations about what it's going to take to address structural racism in our society.
Here are some ways you can help fight the bias against Asian Americans. 1. Be mindful of anti-Asian rhetoric. 2. Speak up for the Asian American community. 3. Support Asian-owned local businesses. And 4. Report and seek support if you need it. Especially during times like these, your support can make the difference. The pandemic of racism can only be stopped if we unite together in the fight against hatred. Thank you for watching. If you would like to see more content like this, please check out our Instagram, as well as our website, www.theprojectlotus.org.